Our strength drains not from excessive effort, but from the unbearable burden of pretense, playing a role that isn't truly ours for too long. It's astonishing, yet true. While adults sleeping 10 hours, consuming all sorts of supplements and washing them down with green smoothies still feel utterly drained, a 5-year-old, fueled only by laughter and play, races around for hours like an inexhaustible source of energy. What lies at the heart of this striking difference? What truly distinguishes them? Here's an answer few dare to speak aloud. True energy isn't just about calories or hours of sleep. It springs from the depths of our authenticity, from the courage to be ourselves. The further we stray from this truth, hiding behind carefully constructed masks, imposed roles and ideal images, the more we fade, not just in spirit, but in body. It's time to openly examine what most of us do in silence. Each new day begins with us donning another mask. We diligently present the world with a version of ourselves that we believe will be approved and accepted. The impeccably friendly colleague, the always composed and calm parent, the person who is perfectly fine even when everything inside is falling apart. We mercilessly silence the voice of our true self, preferring a convenient image, acceptable, likable, impeccably professional or spiritual enough for those around us. The great Carl Jung aptly called this the persona, the carefully woven mask we wear to fit into the complex fabric of society. And while this image helps us function in the world, it comes with an insidious, invisible cost. The more time we spend hiding behind this mask, the further we drift from our true essence, from who we truly are. And it is this internal disconnection that becomes a genuine energy vampire, subtly draining our vitality. But the roots of the problem run even deeper. Behind this mask lies everything we once rejected, pushed into the most hidden corners of our soul. Our shadow, our burning anger, our deep sorrow, our gnawing shame, our unmet needs. Everything we were once forbidden to be, everything that was deemed improper or wrong. Suppressing this shadow, holding this powerful force captive, is like trying to hold a giant inflatable beach ball underwater all day. It's not just tiring, it's utterly exhausting, to the point of trembling, to the last drop of strength. Every time we deceive ourselves, force out a yes when our heart screams no, put on a smile when our eyes are full of tears, or go to extreme lengths to prove our worth, we lose irreplaceable energy. And it's not about our weakness, no. It's about not living in truth, not breathing the full breath of our authentic life. Now, think of children. They don't play roles. They don't wear masks. Their emotions are a pure, unfiltered flow. If they're angry, their anger flares brightly, unashamed, without attempts to hide. If they're happy, they erupt in uncontrollable laughter, jumping, dancing, radiating pure, unadulterated joy. They don't have a persona yet. They haven't learned to edit themselves for approval. They haven't known internal fragmentation. That's why they shine, radiating fountains of inexhaustible energy, because they are whole, undivided within. We were all once like this, pure, untouched, inextricably linked to our inner source, completely whole and unpretentious. But then the world around us, like an invisible director, handed us its script. Chronic fatigue isn't just physical exhaustion. It's a cry from our soul, a desperate message. And insincerity, like poison, not only erodes our energy but also distorts our desires, shapes our cravings, influences our diet, and even our everyday food choices. So, now that we've lifted the veil on the world of shadows and masks, let's talk for a moment about food. Not about calories, not about carbohydrates, but about what drives us, about our cravings. Here's a paradoxical truth. The more we play roles and delve into pretense, the more processed and artificial our inner world becomes, and the stronger our body craves processed foods. This isn't a coincidence. It's a mirror reflection. When we are disconnected from our authentic self, we don't just experience emotional burnout, we are spiritually starving. And in this gaping void, our being instinctively reaches for anything that offers a semblance of comfort, an illusion of identity, or perceived control. We immerse ourselves in binge-watching TV shows, mindlessly scrolling social media feeds, and consuming what can barely be called food. All this because, all day long, we've voluntarily consumed unreality, hiding behind masks, forcing polite smiles, people-pleasing, bustling, torn between others' expectations. Meanwhile, our psyche desperately craves one thing: authenticity and inner harmony. If a false note resonates within you, the world around will echo that same falsity. Your diet, what you feed yourself in every sense, becomes a perfect reflection of your true essence. Meet Carl Jung's concept of individuation, the profound process of becoming your authentic self. This isn't just a path, it's a chain reaction that transforms not only your emotional state but also changes the very essence of your desires. When we finally dare to heal, when we shed the masks we've hidden behind for so long and embrace our shadow, something truly magnificent happens. We no longer gravitate towards what dulls our senses or clouds our minds. Instead, we desperately crave what truly nourishes our soul and body. Farewell, fleeting sugar highs and superficial dopamine rushes. Now we seek real food, deep, restorative rest, genuine conversations, authentic connection. Because being real, being yourself, it's not just more pleasant, it's far more important than simply being loved. And then, when our psyche is finally cleansed of the layers of the persona, the role we played for the world, our body, like a loyal companion, inevitably follows. We physically begin to sense, to recognize with surprising clarity, the difference between true fuel that gives us vitality and all the distractions that relentlessly drain us. This is where we turn the whole familiar narrative on its head. What if your chronic fatigue isn't a malfunction, a breakdown? What if it's actually a screaming message? Not a ruthless, "you're broken," but a gentle, yet insistent, "you've strayed from your path." What if this exhaustion isn't just weakness, but your soul's desperate way of slamming on the emergency brakes, stopping you mid-performance, and leaning in to whisper, almost silently, "This isn't you. This isn't your life. Wake up." Just think about that, deeply. Recall those rare, precious moments when you were absolutely, uncompromisingly yourself. Perhaps you lost yourself in dance, forgetting everything else, or created, dissolving into the process. Maybe you laughed uncontrollably to tears with a loved one, or had a deep conversation, hiding no thought or feeling. Did you feel exhaustion afterwards? Absolutely not. On the contrary, every cell of your being pulsed with life, filled with energy. The reason is simple. Energy flows freely where truth reigns. Chronic fatigue is not mere laziness. It's something far deeper. Chronic self-denial. It's your body's desperate cry, "I can no longer carry this heavy mask." The constant urge to please others, to be good for everyone, is like an invisible crack relentlessly draining your life force. This leak is so profound that even the longest, deepest sleep cannot replenish it. Our emotional digestion is as real and important as our physical one. And when people feel trapped, as if caught in a snare, it often means one thing. They are forced to digest someone else's life. A life that isn't right for them. a life that doesn't fit them, but which they continue to consume. The tragedy is that most of us don't even realize we're playing a role. It's not like a theatrical performance where you can remove your makeup after the applause. It's a constant, exhausting struggle for survival. And herein lies the most chilling truth. We wear these masks so skillfully that over time they fuse with us, beginning to feel like our own skin. We play these roles not just at work, for bosses, or in public. We continue to play them in our own homes, in our closest relationships, and even when alone, in the secret corners of our thoughts. If I'm agreeable enough, whispers the inner voice, if I'm flawless, if I always create comfort for others, then I'll be safe. But this is just an illusion. The comfort we desperately seek can never replace true, deep connection. Every time you deny yourself, striving to please others, you don't just burn energy, you incinerate your life force, trying to make it through the day. That's why so many souls wake up exhausted, even if the body has slept its 8 hours. For sleep only gives peace to the body, but constantly playing a role, pretense, that drains the soul itself to its core. And the soul doesn't recover with rest. It is reborn only in the embrace of truth. Alas, the drive to be loved at all costs is an insidious addiction. It offers only a fleeting burst of relief, a quick but empty nod of approval. It's merely a superficial imitation, not true love. Genuine love blossoms only when you are seen and accepted for who you truly are, without masks, without pretense, not for the role you diligently play. And until you dare to break free from this relentless cycle of trying to please everyone, you will be doomed to remain trapped in an endless emotional debt, constantly giving, justifying, agonizingly overthinking every word and action. This exhausting servitude inevitably generates chronic stress. But chronic stress isn't just anxious thoughts in your head. It literally floods your body with destructive cortisol, mercilessly burns precious neurotransmitters, ruthlessly disrupts digestion, and relentlessly undermines your immune system. In other words, constant pretense, living out of alignment with truth, literally makes you physically ill. If every day is an exhausting struggle, as if you're dragging an invisible but unbearably heavy 45 pounds of weight, stop. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, for whom am I putting on this show? Behind this all-consuming exhaustion lies not just fatigue, but a piercing message. You don't need to do more. You need to be more of yourself. Truth, that is your medicine. Genuine healing from chronic fatigue begins with returning home, to your true self. Listen closely, because few will dare to tell you this. Authenticity isn't a fleeting mood or a passing trend. It's a life-giving, inexhaustible source of energy. When you dare to live in full alignment with who you truly are, your energy doesn't trickle in a thin, barely noticeable thread. It surges in a powerful, sparkling flow, filling every cell. It's as if your nervous system finally connects to the universal life network, to the very source of being. You no longer need lighters of caffeine, endless motivational tricks, or clever productivity apps. You only need inner harmony. You need genuine congruence. When your words echo your true convictions, your actions follow the call of your heart, and your desires and values merge into one, then exhausting depletion dissolves without a trace. Because you no longer spend your invaluable life force maintaining someone else's false image. And to make this truly tangible, let's return once more to a topic that concerns all of us. Food. When you shed the mask and allow yourself to truly, deeply feel, you discover you no longer crave fake food. Processed foods are, in essence, fuel for your persona, for that very image you've so diligently maintained. Dressed in bright wrappers, manipulated with artificial additives, unnaturally enhanced. And, like playing someone else's role, such food provides only a short-lived, deceptive burst of energy, inevitably followed by a devastating crash. But when you finally connect with your authentic self, a miracle occurs. You instinctively gravitate towards what truly nourishes you. This is not just fresh, whole food for the body, but true sustenance for the soul. Your body no longer chases fleeting stimulation. It craves deep, life-giving nourishment. You begin to eat to cherish and fuel your living essence, not to desperately numb internal pain. This is a profound, transformative shift that, unfortunately, is never mentioned in strict dietary plans. When you dare to live without a mask, when you stop the exhausting game of fitting in, refusing to abandon yourself for others' approval, then something truly magical happens. You begin not just to recover, but to truly flourish. Your sleep becomes not just deeper, but healing, immersing you in serene peace. Digestion improves, the body finds tranquility, and once raging emotions finally find their shore, ceasing to spiral out of control. You find yourself becoming incredibly effective, yet exerting far less effort. Why? Because being yourself doesn't require an ounce of extra energy. On the contrary, it's pretense, the constant playing of a role that ruthlessly burns through your vital reserves. The great Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And I will wholeheartedly add, it is there, in that authentic existence, that the inexhaustible energy of your entire life is hidden. So let's take the first step towards healing, daring to be truly ourselves. Because the authentic you is an unstoppable force, an energy capable of moving mountains.